Okay, just gonna start that over.
Okay. Oh God. All right.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay.
All right, welcome to the Well Actually podcast. I'm your host, Toju. Thank you for listening, however you may be listening. Remember, the podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. And videos of the podcast are available on YouTube. So this week, we're going to do a year in review, wrap up 2019. And I am joined by my very good friend, Precious. Say hi to everybody, Precious. Why are you looking at me that way?
Hi guys, my name is Precious. Hello, hope you're doing good. I'm doing good.
Did you want like a more extravagant introduction there?
No, I'm modest, so whatever you give to me, I'll take.
Do you want me to start this thing over and give you a more Khaleesi type of introduction?
If that's what you want.
Okay, moving on. So we just wanted to get through a bunch of stuff that really stuck out throughout the year, and well, needless to say, 2019 was a really crazy year. It was an eventful year. It was a year of growth for a lot of people, and in some ways, it was a year of, I don't know, I don't want to say retardation, but like
decline, demise,
and
backwardness.
Thank you. Okay, we have the thesaurus here. Okay, yeah. So there was
sadness.
a lot. Oh, okay. All right. She's not done. All right. Is there anything else you want to get out of your system?
No.
That was it.
That's
You
it.
good? Okay.
Just helping out.
All right. Appreciate that. See, I knew you were going to be helpful. All right. So first part of the news and notes I wanted to get to was a whole bunch of Black Girl Magic. We had first time that was Miss USA, Miss Teen USA, Miss World, Miss Universe, all black.
Whoop whoop.
And yeah, shout out to all of them. I'm not even going to try to pronounce any names right now because these women deserve just all good things, and me butchering their names
He's not one of those.
Yeah, so but shout out to Tosin. Yeah, she was Miss Nigeria at the I think at Miss World, and she was full of support for Miss South Africa, who ended up being Miss World, and of course Miss Nigeria Universe, who also was full of support for Miss Jamaica. So Nigerians, even if we can't win it, we're there to support.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, yeah.
Unless it's not Ghana.
Yeah, that we won't even get into that. And shout out to Cardi though. She did all the speaking for us. But all right, and then another thing that was fairly current, but it kind of struck a chord with a bunch of people was. Well, did you see what happened with Lizzo at the Laker game?
Yeah.
And all right, for those who aren't aware, Lizzo, the artist, is she Grammy nominated? I believe she was Grammy nominated, and then she won. She's won a couple.
Not sure about Grammys, but she won a Soul Train.
Yeah, that was that. We didn't even discuss that. Yeah, her winning over Ari Lennox, but you know what? Not gonna pit two black women against each other, but in this case, she was at a Laker game, sitting fairly close to the front, and the camera got on her, and she stood up and she danced, twerked. Something was going on there, and
her dress was a cutout of her.
Her what?
Her butt showing.
Okay, yeah. So they were pretty sizable cheeks, but they were exposed regardless, and it sort of started up this firestorm of hot takes of she should know better, or that was immodest, it was inappropriate, whatever. And then some people came back with, but yeah, like if you look directly on the court, there's like cheerleaders who are wearing even less than that. So then where does the line go? And then it became, okay, but then is it really about immodesty or the fact that Lizzo is a big fine? And I mean,
you just say a big fine?
Yeah, that's the classification. Like I didn't want to say BBW, but yeah, she's she's voluptuous.
She's plus size.
Yeah,
it's okay to say it.
No. I was just I didn't think I didn't think big fine was like derisive or anything.
No, it's
I think that's actually a term. I thought that was like a term of endearment. Like it's a category that
big fine.
Yeah. I mean,
sounds
I've
like
seen,
something someone would say when they're trying to like.
No, but I've seen
You know
them
like,
self-identify
white
that way.
Be fine.
Yeah.
I guess.
Or maybe I just end up in like some weird corners of the internet and I see these things. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to get into that.
I believe that part of
We're not gonna
it.
get
That
into
part is very truthful.
So back to Lizzo and, and what happened. So it was. So when I saw it initially, like, of course, being a guy, I'm like, hey, what's the big deal? Like, people are just telling her it was inappropriate. And then, you know, I keep my timeline curated in a way where it's just people that whose opinions I value, and like I try to keep toxic stuff away because like you step outside and there's toxicity everywhere. So I saw something that my homegirl posted, and it sort of like tapped me on the shoulder, like, hey, you just listen a bit and see what people are like read between the lines. Yeah, because it's like I might see things like, oh, that's no big deal, and then someone who's a little bit more like personally attached or has a personal stake to it could like, you know, bring some sort of enlightenment to the issue. And what she said was, sure, people also bring up like the time Drea, I think, went out when like something very risque where it's like pantyhose but like cut out at the butt cheek area, and it's like, oh yeah, sure, people pointed it out, but a couple days later it was done. But meanwhile, Lizzo, like, not only is the volume of the backlash is getting significantly higher, but like the intensity and the vitriol that's being attached to it is like, you can't say this is an apples to apples comparison. And
I think today is just a situation of where people always feel like it's always either or. It can be both things at the same time. You know, it can be a situation where people like, this is inappropriate. I mean, if Rihanna had won something like that, it would still be outrageous, but not as much as, you know, with Lizzo. So there has to be like, and I also feel like there's an element of fat phobia going on.
So that was another thing she mentioned.
Both things can be true at the same time. I mean, I didn't like the dress, the whole, I think it was a shirt. But my fashion choices doesn't mean that I'm going to like kill someone over the head over their fashion choices. So I feel like both things were true at the same time. But in situations like this, especially conversations on Twitter, it's always like you have to go towards this end or go towards that end of it. So yeah.
Yeah, so that was the thing that stuck out to me, because she was saying, sure, there can be balance in this conversation where it's like, sure, it was inappropriate. Nobody's disputing that. But then the way people were coming at Lizzo, or it was sort of like Lizzo was being held up as this, like when you see people talk about things in public, like it's rarely just about that person. It's sort of how they feel about a larger topic. And it's like, okay, like how dare this fat person be confident enough to go out and do this? Like, how dare you? Like, but you know, everybody's gonna come back and say, hey, no, I'm just doing this in the name of decency, even though the Laker girls are literally dancing in boy shorts and tank tops. But I guess that one is sort of expected. You know what you're getting at a Laker game with Laker girls because they're like the fabric of the Lakers.
No, but because that's been normalized. So you can also say that Lizzo is trying to normalize people dressing like this. It doesn't always have to be just because she's a plus size woman. She has to, every statement she makes is a situation where it just applies to big girls or plus size women. Maybe she's trying to, you know, normalize dressing however you want. You know, if you know that your kids are sensitive, keep them at home or whatever, you know. So.
But okay, so to that then, if you know your kids are sensitive. So let's say it's a movie, music, there's ratings on it where it's like, okay, PG-13, rated R, or whatever. But a sporting event is something that typically is family friendly.
Well,
right?
Okay,
like, so whatever, like, you know exactly when the dancers are going to be on the floor. That's when there's a break in action.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything that could prepare you for a Lizzo twerk in cutout dress, shirt, whatever, that you're like, okay, I knew I was coming to a Laker game. I did not know I was going to see cheeks.
Yeah,
but
and that's why I said it's like, it's not an either or situation. Like, I understand the outrage. I do understand too, it's coming from a mixture of, you know, fat phobia. There's some people who actually mean well and are like, okay, this is a little bit too much for a family affair. So like there are different sides to it. It's complex. It's not just one thing. So it's okay. Those points are valid. Okay, I didn't. This is not what I signed up for. I'm used to having this, and all of a sudden I'm getting this. So I do understand that, but like they're different. What people need to understand is they're different arguments, and they're different. Both can be true at the same time. Different things can be true at the same time. Situations is not just either or. Things are complex.
Yeah, so that's something I try to say on the podcast, that a lot of situations are not either or, they can be and.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, multiple things can be true at the same time. Like one doesn't stop the other from being true.
Yeah.
All right, and moving on to something, well, I'm not sure a lot of people caught this, but so the Golden Globe nominations were released a couple days, maybe a week ago, and When They See Us was completely shut out in the categories for acting and for best miniseries, and like, so that means Gerald Jerome was like, he was, I don't even know how to address this without like it's gonna come off as, oh, why aren't they acknowledging us? But this was clearly one of the best pieces of work put out throughout the year. Like even with the SAG nominations, like his peers nominated him for the SAG Awards. That's the Screen Actors Guild, and that show was completely cut out. That's in case anyone, I can't assume everyone knows, but there was an episode about it where it was a Netflix miniseries about the Central Park Five now being called the Exonerated Five.
Yeah.
And it was really powerful, really intense, really triggering for some, because it's like, it might have been a fictionalization or a dramatization for people, but that is real life for a certain part of the audience or a certain part of the population. And the fact that that show was completely cut out, I don't know, are they tone deaf, or are they just ignorant, or are they just like, okay, we're just not going to give this any shine so we don't have to think about it?
I'm like, I'm so tired of having this conversation. I am so exhausted, and that's why I don't watch the Oscars anymore. I haven't watched it in a while. I think last time I watched it was when the hashtag Oscar So White trended, and I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. First of all, they don't even get it right with the white movie, so I'm not expecting them to get it right with black movies.
Okay.
But it's just a situation where people look forward to this, and unfortunately we can tell all black people, just stop supporting the Oscars, let it go down. Fortunately, it is a measure of good movies, quote unquote, whatever that means at this point. But it's sad. It's sad that When They See Us didn't get nominated. There's no one that can see it and say this was not a good film, a good series, a good piece of work. But at this point, there's nothing else to say. I think they don't care about outrage at this point. It's just, they don't care. They don't care. And I need people to realize that they don't care. It's not a situation where they don't see that it's good. Because now you cannot deny that the work is good. This is not a situation where we're saying, oh, representation, just put any black movie. This is good work. So they just don't care. That's all.
All right. So to make matters worse, so a show that's not even, well, it had like a very black story arc, but it's not a quote unquote black show, but Watchmen on HBO, which many people would consider the best show of 2019. And honestly, it had the single best episode of 2019 and maybe in the last 5 years, maybe. And that show was completely shut out as well. And I was like, was it just an afterthought, or is it like people are just not recognizing good? Well, like you said, they get it wrong with the white shows too, so we shouldn't even. I just had to put it out there because in case anyone is looking for a phenomenal piece of work to watch, Watchmen on HBO. Like the storytelling, the use of flashback, the use of CGI, the performances, all top notch, and yeah, I couldn't recommend it higher. So the last thing I wanted to get to in terms of news and notes, or in terms of like the current thing, but it will lead us into sort of our year in review is, did you check your Spotify Wrapped, your Artist of the Year, your Song of the Year, and then Artist of the Decade?
First things first, if you use Apple Music, I'm just telling you, drop that and come on to Spotify.
Now you're taking shots at Apple.
I'm just saying, like, we can talk about stuff like this with Spotify. I don't think you guys can do that with Apple Music. And it's way better. Not that they're paying me for it. I hope they can pay me for this, but yeah.
You think Spotify will pay you for taking shots at Apple?
Of course.
Okay. I mean, in fairness, most of the listeners to this podcast listen on Apple Podcasts. So, we don't want to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, we appreciate you nonetheless. Yes, get Spotify though. Yes, you're telling the video. Okay.
Yeah, it's a podcast and tell the video.
Okay, so how do you want to do this? You want to go through your top 10, or you want to go through the top 5, or?
Okay, I haven't checked mine yet, so I'll be seeing it for the first time.
Really?
I just got like a glimpse because Soji just showed me where it was, like 2 seconds of it, and it was dope.
Yeah, so I'm just here to help everybody out.
Almost all Nigerian music, by the way.
All right, so you want to go to your top 5 artists?
I'm looking for where you showed me it is. Okay, but I don't want to click on it because it's gonna just.
Okay, so you want to turn off the notifications then, like turn your sound all the way down.
Okay.
Because I think that would be the best way to do it.
No, because it won't. Because my. Okay.
Just go to page 6, and then we'll see where. Because you just keep tapping next.
Okay.
Because I want. Because number 1 is on page 5, so.
Wow.
All right, so
that's weird.
All right, go to your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so my number 1.
No. You're going from 5.
5. Okay. Ari Lennox.
Okay. All right.
Number 4 is Jules.
Okay. All right. Sure.
I don't believe this stuff. Number 3 is Mr. Easy. I mean, I listen to him, but not for number 3 spot. Number 2 is Burna Boy.
All right. And who's number 1?
Yes.
The
Queen.
Is it really Beyonce? Really?
Yes.
On
Beyonce.
Spotify? Really? Huh.
Which is weird, but most of her songs
are not on Spotify.
That's
what I was gonna say. Like,
I guess I do.
Wow. No, but remember, she did like a dump on was it her birthday or something like that? Well, a couple months ago.
Yeah, she did.
She released all of.
But also, I think it's because of the concert. I just remember that came out this year. The concert album, and then the African album, the one with the
Lion King.
The Lion King one.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
All right.
That's why.
Okay, so I'll give you my top 5 artists, and I really don't agree. I agree with some of them. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. So my number 5 was Usher.
Usher.
Yes, because I listened to that Confessions album
today.
When I tell you something afterwards, don't. I think there's more to get into.
Okay, we're gonna talk about Toji's heartbreak today.
There's no heartbreak.
All right,
I promise. Number 4 is Khalid, not DJ Khaled. Khalid.
The R&B one. Okay.
Number 3 is the weird one, Anderson .Paak.
Okay.
I listened to Ventura and Malibu a bit, but I didn't realize it was going to be up to that one. Number 2 is Ari Lennox. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And number 1,
if you don't say Daddy Shoki, like there's nothing short that's gonna surprise me. So just go.
Wow. SZA.
Caesar.
Yes. Number 1 was SZA. Yep.
Did she even release anything this year?
She didn't. That's the thing.
Wow.
Her album came out in 2016.
She didn't want to break your heart.
I don't want to get into that right now. They said I spent 6 hours listening to SZA.
No, really?
6 hours. Yeah, it was. Anyway.
But guys, can we see a trend here? Okay, this is SZA.
Ari Lennox was number 2, Anderson .Paak, Khalid, and Usher.
So now this is a good segue. Who broke your heart? What are you dealing with, Tojo?
So the thing is,
come on, I'm the guest, okay? I ask the questions sometimes.
Okay.
But
who broke my heart?
Yeah.
So nobody broke my heart, but I do typically gravitate towards female R&B singers. That's always been the top of. That's always been what I don't know.
It's not really that doesn't don't
no because
don't
no but just
out of this
go listen to go listen to Control
there.
But look at the top 2. The second one was
Doesn't matter,
Lennox.
and then you have Usher. That's 3. So that's not the answer I was waiting for.
Okay, don't
Who
worry.
broke your heart?
I'll explain it to you when we. All right. So now you want to get into your top 10 songs. That might give you some more insight onto who you think broke my heart.
I don't know, but guys, I think we need to know.
Don't worry. There's time.
That's fine. Okay, let's go back. Let me
That's your
see.
page
Sorry,
nine.
guys. I'm just trying to navigate. I'm just now seeing this, so. I'm a world citizen when it comes to your music. But
I beg you.
okay, alright. We have a hater in the building, that's fine, guys. 2020 is about rising above haters.
Wow.
Okay?
Okay, Michelle Obama.
And you love these songs the most. Wait, I don't see the top 10. Okay, your top songs.
Yeah, it should be 10 songs right there. Ma'am, you're
Am I
muted.
past?
It's supposed to be on page 9.
Oh, hold on. I'm not in page 9.
It's supposed to be right after World Citizens. This is riveting content for the
Oh,
listeners, I
after
bet.
World Citizens. Why don't you say yours while I'm trying to...
Mine is very weird, and a lot of it had to do with personal stuff.
This is the one that comes after World Citizens.
That's it right there.
Oh.
Yes, that was me fixing the situation yet again.
Yeah, but these are out.
No, those are songs.
Oh, okay, so top songs is Shea Butter Baby.
That's your top 10? That's number 10, number 1.
Yeah, right. I don't know, it's just coming up as it goes. On the Low, Burner Boy.
Oh, so yeah, so it's going from 1 to 10. Okay, so I guess you
Malik
start from...
Berry, Doing You.
I guess you start from number 1 then.
Okay,
All right.
sorry guys.
All right, go ahead.
Number 1 is Shea Butter
Okay.
Baby, Ariel Knox.
Uh-huh.
Jara, Burner Boy.
Uh-huh.
On the Low, Burner Boy.
Ah.
I know. Doing You, Malik Berry. Eagle, Saz, and World.
Okay.
That's it. You
That's
don't
it.
know.
So that's 10?
That's not 10, but I don't think it's...
It's supposed to be 10.
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
That's just...
Anyway, I'll just give you mine. So my number 10, of course, BMO, Ari Lennox. That's my shit. Faint by Linkin Park. Yeah, don't. That's it. It's part of my workout playlist. Energy, Skepta and Wizkid. Adore remix. Meyokun, Davido, Kitty. Amaka, Zubaba and Peruzzi.
Since when?
Hey!
Wow.
Ma'am, it's a year end. Number 5, I got 5 on it. You can thank Us.
5.
Yeah, the Us soundtrack.
I keep forgetting there's a video here. And it's
Yeah. Hey,
when
you
they're
know
doing the Crips.
Then number 4, Toast by Coffee.
Okay.
So number 3, this one, it's not because I was just listening to it. I created a video for my friend that got married. So I was using the audio for this song in the video I created. So that's Excess Love by Mercy Chinwo. So it's Jesus, You Love Me Too. That one. Anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, and then number 2, Do Maybe Varma. It's I'll play it for you during the break. You can make up your mind.
No, I know it's a Christian song.
Yeah, and then number 1 is so freaking weird, but it's the intro to my workout list, my workout playlist. But then I play it regularly, so let's see if it.
I guess the new thing now is whenever like a weird song pops up, I'll be like, oh, it's my workout song.
I'll show you during the break.
How you work out to the song?
No, I will show you the song on my playlist. This one that you're questioning me in public.
Okay.
I don't understand what's going on, but it's
sit-ups here.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. That is not. So it's the I Got 5 on It tethered remix from Us. That's the dum like the one that was in the preview. So that was my number 1 song of the year. Weird, I know, but yeah. All right. So now you want to get into your song or artist of the decade? I'm not even sure how it's set up now.
Take a wild guess.
It's gonna be Beyonce.
No.
What? How?
Burna Boy.
Burna Boy over Beyonce.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
That's disappointing.
That's not disappointing.
That's disappointing.
What are you talking about?
You just finished calling her the queen, and now
she is the queen.
Then
it doesn't mean that she's just going to add
that she can't be second place.
She's my one lucky artist. One Lucky Artist was your number one. Beyonce. There's something else that is Beyonce. But
that's just
you know,
strange.
my artist of the decade is Burna Boy.
Just go to page 14, please, so these people can.
Actually, no, your artist of the decade. Yeah, it's Burna Boy. Okay, don't laugh, whatever. We've been so lucky to share. Oh, sorry. So 2019 Wrapped is Wrapped.
Yeah, so go back a couple pages to 14. It'll show you your artist of the year and song of the year along the way. So this is what I wanted to tell you about Usher. Confessions Part 2 was my song of the year for 2 years in a row.
Jesus Christ.
And the Confessions album was so naturally my artist of the decade was Usher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, this keeps going if you let it go. I just keep skipping it.
So did you see who it was for the last 5 years?
Top songs, Before You Wake Up. Top artist, Beyonce.
I didn't want to say that. Which year is that? Yeah, so
2018 on the top song. No, that's what I'm saying. It plays on.
Oh, so it goes all the way backwards?
Yeah, so see, 28 and then 2019 top song, Before You Wake Up, top artist Beyonce for 2019.
Well, it didn't show you 2014 and the rest.
No, I guess on the desktop one, I could show.
Bootleg.
Boy, bye.
Yeah, my top song of 2014 was "Fill Me In" for some reason by Craig David.
God.
Yeah.
By Craig David. Told you.
Hey man, I like classics.
Please, actual Toji's friend that he talks to. I don't know what he does with his time, but check up on him because something is going on here.
Should I tell you what my top song of 2016 was?
Oh no, I don't want to hear this.
It was "Creep" by TLC.
Oh, wow.
All right. On that note, we're just gonna take a break here, and then we'll be right back.
Boom, boom. I got on it.
I got that part into the. All right, we're back. I'm here with Precious. All right, so now switching gears a little bit, I wanted to get into some things that were pretty prevalent throughout 2019, and the first one is how brands and how, I don't even want to call them trolls, but how people essentially use Black outrage as currency to either further their own personal agendas or to get their brands out there. And is that something that you also witnessed this year? Precious.
Huh?
I'm talking to you. You're looking at me like I'm talking to myself.
Because I was looking at what are you looking at me for?
That's what happens when you're having a conversation with someone.
No, because you were looking so intensely. I was like, wait, what is he looking at?
Wait, you thought I was calling you a troll? No, I just wanted to get your opinion on it. I wasn't accusing you of doing it. Jeez.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what was the question?
Well, I gotta repeat the question. Do you believe brands were tripping by using Black outrage as currency? Like they were just doing things specifically to get Black people mad?
Well, brands are gonna do whatever they want to, whatever they have to do to get a certain business or traffic or attention to their brands. It's just that Black people, I'm not sure what is going on at the moment, but I feel like everyone now is just on this outrage train, and sometimes it's needed. There are a lot of things to be angry about.
Oh yeah,
trust me, as a Black person in America, there's lots of things to be angry about, but now it's just every single thing is being dissected and talked about and analyzed, and brands know that now. So once they get your name in their mouth, there's going to be a 2 days of trending and talking about it and threatening cancel culture, and that they say no publicity is bad publicity. So at the end of the day, they get the promotion they need, and people who always threaten to cancel the brand never actually follow up, because most of the time it's not even something to cancel the brand about. If you're being frank with yourself, it's okay, they made a mistake, you can call them out on that mistake, and still be like, I'm truthful to myself. I'm not gonna stop going to
So
this
do you
place.
do you have an example of that? Like, I know the most glaring one that comes to mind for me is one about Gucci, where they were telling everyone to boycott for 3 months.
Right.
I mean,
like what exactly is that?
So, like, because I think when T.I., we talked about T.I. on this podcast before, but when T.I. mentioned it, what his thing was, the reason why he gave it such a finite timeline was he wanted, like, for their quarterly earnings to reflect the boycott. I'm like, yeah, I guess in theory that makes sense, but it's sort of like, okay, everyone's like, all right, we good, we're no longer angry with them, okay, so I can go back to buying that. And he also picked like a luxury brand where it's like the average person can't even afford it in the first place. So it's like, yeah, I can say I'm boycotting Gucci. I'm like, yeah, right. I also don't own a single thing made from Gucci. So it's like, yeah, I've been boycotting them for 30 years, man. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. But it's also like, why do they only seem to like always pick something that would offend the black community? Like, we don't see
because
these.
Because it's the black community. Because okay, so black Twitter is like the Twitter you want to be in. If you want a product to sell, you want to get into black Twitter. So of course, if they're trying to get into black Twitter, it's to target things that black people are going to talk about.
So you're saying these brands are essentially trolling now?
Of course.
So, but is that is kind of that's messed up.
No, it's not.
What? So
when you look at it from a profit stance, it's not because brands, you have to understand, brands are there for one thing, to make a profit. Yeah, they want to turn a profit. But then they also want brand loyalty. That's how they turn you from a customer to like a returning customer. That's the thing, though. Like, what are black people loyal to?
That's a heavy question.
You get like, it's especially if it's like brands that we already go to, it's very difficult. I know that. Okay, so let me not start. Go with
your
for example, so black men and black women.
Okay.
We approach the topic very differently.
Okay, let's see where you
black go. Women I think they do for an extent are more I'm trying to pick my words very wisely. Yeah. But we follow through a little bit more when it comes to, boycotting things.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Because if you'd like to go there, we could also go to like a lot of these shops that you get like your hair products from are typically not owned by black folks.
No. So So okay, so first of all, let me land.
Okay, sorry.
So why I brought up this was because of black loyalty. So if there are brands that for this topic that black women already like are loyal to, quote unquote, like for example, Shea Moisture, there was a time that there was this whole situation. I can't remember what it was. That's how
I think it had something. It depicted like a white woman in the.
Yes,
like,
it was a commercial. Yes,
I remember.
Black women were. So this is something they're already, quote unquote, loyal to.
The brand was trying to diversify.
Exactly, and then black women withdrew their support, and then you see like they took steps. But that was like 2 years ago. Then they took steps to like bring black women back into the whole conversation. Going to YouTube stars and like trying to. They've made steps towards correcting what had happened.
But do you think that was a misstep? Like you said, like the point of any brand or any company is profit. Like they were trying to increase the number of people they could profit from.
But not at the expense of losing what they already had.
But they didn't stop making that product for black women.
They didn't. But the problem at the first place was they were prioritizing white buyers than black. It wasn't a situation where they were trying to diversify. They were moving away from catering to black women.
So when you say moving away, did they stop making the products for black people?
They didn't, but they started making ads targeting white people.
Like, we got you already. We don't have to reach out to you anymore.
No, you got me, but you have to, that's why I'm talking about brand loyalty. You got me, but you have to keep me there. You have to keep me there.
So then when we're saying okay, brands,
and this is a lesson to Nigerian men. You got me, but you gotta keep me
wow,
there.
how did we?
Let's get back.
How are we catching stray bullets from shea butter? What?
Yeah, we just we have to any way we can. We just connect the whole thing.
This is. Becoming,
but
okay.
this goes back to what I'm talking about in reference to brand loyalty. There isn't a lot of things that Black people have the power to show that okay, we can affect your business, we can affect your money. There are very little things like, for example, that's what Shea Moisture is one of those things where their primary market is Black women, and we're able to kind of show our power in that situation. But for a lot of things that we're saying we're going to cancel, we don't even have majority voice in that where we can show power in the sense of like a Shea Moisture situation. Yeah.
So the thing is, I don't disagree at all. But when it comes to like non-Black brands, where it's like luxury brands or just brands in general, where they see, all right, you know what, we're going to stoke the fire a bit, where we're going to say something controversial, put out an ad campaign, specifically where they know that it's going to agitate or anger the Black community. And I don't know if it's deliberate. Some are saying it's deliberate, and if you say so, I won't be the one to disagree with you. And some are saying it's also a fact. It's a repercussion of the fact that there's no diversity in their boardrooms. There's no diversity in even amongst the people making the decisions.
But they can change that. That is something they can change.
But that's something they could do more easily.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's not a situation where.
But then these places still aren't.
It's not deliberate because they don't have Black people in the boardroom. It's deliberate because they don't have Black people in the boardroom. So that's why they can make mistakes like that.
So this is a chicken and egg thing.
Exactly.
Where it's like, okay, so is it deliberate in that
there's no Black person to tell them, okay?
Or is it deliberate that
they don't have any Black person in the boardroom? And why I feel like it's deliberate either or is that, like I said, Black people, no matter how much we think that the country is changing, Black people, we don't make that much of the United States population. So when it comes to like brands like what's the one T.I. was?
Gucci.
Black people are not their primary market in the first place. I mean, we buy stuff. We do. Don't get me wrong. We buy stuff, but
we are the number one billboard. I would say that.
But like, if white people chose to continue to support it,
they won't feel it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why they can afford to run the Black outrage train, and then still step back, and white people are still going to keep buying products from them, and then they've gotten the publicity they want. Because believe it or not, America is in a point where people are tired. People are tired of every time, I can't get this. There's like, you can't get Starbucks, you can't get a shaving stick because you can't even keep up with all the things that we're canceling. So no one is listening to you saying, don't go to Gucci anymore. So where am I going to go? That person too is racist. That person too has done shit.
So do you feel then that,
Okay.
So do you, after you curse like 20 times.
Okay.
Wait, so do you feel like then this whole cancel culture is more performative then?
Yes.
Like it's all about saying you're canceling than actually doing the canceling?
Yes, because most of the time, people on Twitter that are talking about canceling, they never even bought stuff from the person in the first place, or they don't have the power to say they're canceling the person. Do you understand? It's like when Daniel Caesar, I don't know what he said, and people were like,
they canceled him quick. I think it has something to do with Yes Jules.
But it's like, you don't even listen to his music in the first place. So like exactly how is this going to affect this guy? Like
the number one example for me was Kanye West, when everyone was canceling Kanye.
It's like even the most woke people that woke quote unquote, the most woke people were still finding all this like loopholes to keep listening to Kanye West. And I'm like, but then I'm looking at myself like I don't listen to Kanye West like on my own. Maybe on the radio, like a Gold Digger song comes on.
I literally changed the station when Kanye was coming.
Like I don't listen to him. So me telling my friends what the hell cancel him is like, okay, you don't have a ground to stand on. And my friends are like, oh no, I'm gonna listen to like the when you download the songs illegally or whatever, it's not gonna put money in his pocket.
Yeah,
It's like all these loopholes just to keep listening to this person that you said you were going to stop listening to.
Like it's a matter of principle, really, because like for you to cancel it, like for you to take a stand in that regard, it has to mean something. It has to cost you something.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people aren't willing to go that extra step.
A lot of people don't know it's supposed to cost you something.
So you think cancellation is just about the public show of it?
That's what they think it is. Because people are like, oh, it's just like when Chick-fil-A did said they were supporting this gay
They still are.
Yeah. And then people were like, oh no, I'm not gonna stop eating at Chick-fil-A. Where am I gonna eat? Blah blah. It's supposed to cost you something. It's not supposed to be convenient.
So I'm glad you actually brought up Chick-fil-A because the whole chicken sandwich thing popped off with Popeyes.
Mm-hmm.
And the way Popeyes, that chicken sandwich like grew in like notoriety, there was nothing offensive about it at all. It was just the product, and it was, I don't know if they reached out to influencers or like really
it was
popular,
Black Twitter,
but it was through Black Twitter, and it wasn't in a way that was like, okay,
it was generic.
Let's call them niggers and see how they act about it. It was no, it was just a product that resonated with people.
But you understand why like brands now would do everything to be able to be in Black Twitter's conversation.
But then the thing is, there are some brands that actually do get canceled, and the fact is, you probably don't know about it because you just never hear about those brands again. That's it. That's the point I'm trying to make is they're not even in your consciousness anymore because they cross one line and then. And like, okay, like what's Chrisette Michele? She performed.
But that's what I'm saying. This is a conversation about black women. Black women are Chrisette Michelle's primary market.
Yeah, but then she stepped in. She felt she was doing something subversive.
Yes.
And she got canceled, even though
because when black women cancel you and they're your primary market, you're canceled.
I don't see. She gave us Aston Martin music. And you people canceled her.
Canceled. And,
like, also
and she wasn't even that popular in the first place.
But she didn't endorse the man. She just collected a check.
That was it. That's all it took. That's why shout out to black women out there. You guys are dope. You guys are queens. You guys are wonderful. And, keep being you. Okay?
So, but aren't those black women too still listening to Kanye?
Not really.
I mean, his last album didn't debut at #1. His church service.
First of all, Kanye's market is half white.
Yeah, the other half
is white teenage boys.
And the other half is
black men.
No, I seriously, I really hope not.
Black men.
I'm sorry. I've listened to one Kanye album.
Okay, but I can tell you, black men would die for Kanye West. Just saying.
Wow. Okay.
Just saying.
I'm
not coming for y'all, but
I think we've dedicated enough time to Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah. So the thing about black outrage and not only how it's been commodified, but then how it's been used as fodder for art now. So it's like so the thing that separates like stuff like When They See Us from like other like it's even being put in the same box as like trauma porn or like black trauma as a genre. So it's like even when you bring up like 12 Years a Slave or movies of that ilk where it's like, okay, it's just black pain being put on screen. And in the last episode, we sort of discussed that where it's like, don't these stories actually deserve to be told as well?
And which I don't want to touch too much on because we're going to talk about movies in a couple. I don't want to give it away. But
no, we can go into it now.
So like this whole idea of I'm African, so I don't want to be insensitive to the voice, like African American voices that keep saying, we're tired of black trauma, we're tired of black pain being, shown. But this is America. I keep saying it. This is America. As a black person in America, that's black pain. And it's hard not to tell movie makers, filmmakers that, just disregard this experience that makes up majority of your experience just so I can have what I want, which is and that's the thing about goes back to the argument about it's not either or. I understand we want movies that are beautiful and are sweet and we see ourselves like win in the end, but that's not America's story.
So see, all right. So I get what you're saying, and to that point, remember before we started the podcast, we're like naming the movies that came out, like black movies, like blickety black movies that came out this year, and the majority of them were movies that depicted like black pain, like that centered on black pain. So like sure, like the experience of black folks in America like deals with pain, anguish, apprehension, dealing with police, but like 75% of the movies should those movies then be only black pain? Like isn't there room for balance? Like okay, you're gonna tell this story where it's like okay, either a slave movie, police brutality, or in some weird way we got Us made, which was just Jordan Peele flexing because of the strength of Get Out.
Well, Us wasn't a black pain movie.
No, that's what I'm saying. So like that was
and
like on the other
what other movie I remember? There was a movie with Issa Rae and this girl that is
yeah. So it was like a big Freaky Friday.
Yeah, but
thing.
A lot of people didn't go for that.
But so the thing is it was profitable.
It was profitable, but it wasn't
a blockbuster because like the budget for the movie itself was pretty minimal, and then the budget for like advertising was minimal. Right. But the movie itself was profitable. Like it significantly outperformed its budget. So that is actually a success story. Yeah. So like I know the movie. That's the one that had Regina King. Yeah. Yeah, and then she became Marseille Martin, something like that. Yeah, she was actually the producer of the movie. So yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but it's like okay, so you're showing up. Okay, if let's say you're determined to depict black life in America. It's not every day one person's life is, even though there's the fear of dealing with the police, but like it could just be like you're going to school and like falling in love and shit like that.
This goes back to a privilege that white people in America have that black people don't have. They have the privilege of going to, they have this opportunities for different.
Not Regina King,
Hall, They have opportunities to have all these different opportunities in the film world. They're able to, do movies just cause. We have to, when we are calling out movies that are being made, we have to show empathy for filmmakers, black filmmakers trying to make movies in Hollywood. Because first things first, Hollywood is there to make money.
True.
Okay, there aren't that many filmmakers, and when you're trying to pitch, you have to go through hell and back.
See, I don't think the beef is with the filmmakers though. Like it's
no, but people are calling out the filmmaker. It's just really? Like with Quinn and Slim, people are calling out the filmmakers for not doing a good job of depicting the movies or using pain or using black pain.
Really?
Yes. Did you see all the reviews about?
So that's actually something we touched on. But Is that more of the filmmaker itself, or is that more of a state of the union of the film industry in general?
But that's what I'm saying. It's a system. That's what people need to understand. It's a system. Just because the face of the system is a black person doesn't mean that black person has all the control of what's going on in the movie or how there are people who have to invest in the movies. Those people have to like the story, and at this point those are the stories that they think are going to make them money. And I get it. I get saying okay, it's enough, and I like it because when investors see that this is what black people are saying, we're tired of these movies, maybe they can take an opportunity to invest in movies that are happy. But then even us as the consumers, when movies like that are made, we have to go out, and that's why I'm really, really excited for The Photograph. I think everyone should go see it. That's the kind of movie, Black love, I'm hoping. But still, I think The Photograph also has a certain kind of black pain, but it's not specific to being black.
Yeah, so it's just pain associated with romance.
Yeah. But let's go support, let's support movies like that, so investors see, this can also make us money, not just slavery movies or not just police brutality movies. But then also consumers, we need to be, and I keep saying it, we need to show more empathy towards Black filmmakers. I think that because of the scarcity of Black movies, once one Black movie comes, we all want to dissect and destroy and show our intellectual prowess and like the way Queen and Slim, the reviews and how they really completely, and then people were like, don't even go see the movie.
Really? They got that serious?
Please see Twitter. They were like, and I get it. Like when I watched the movie, I don't want to spoil the movie, but
please don't. There's
an actual scene of a protest. I felt like, that maybe could have been handled better. But that's a conversation to have, not a conversation of don't go see the movie.
Okay,
and that was a conversation that's being had.
So what I'm hearing is the reviews to Black movies are very extreme.
Yes.
So it's like we can't say do better. We just say
don't go see it.
Yeah.
And people are like, I'd rather go see Frozen.
Really? Another Frozen?
Reviews and reviews and YouTube videos and like we're so hard on our people. Like we completely forget the system that is in place that makes it so hard for them to even actually get out this work, for this work to be put out, and you're completely telling people to go see Frozen instead of seeing the movie. Like
that is.
And this culture of like, once you don't like one thing, like you destroy the entire product is not even realistic. It's not realistic. You cannot go through the world like that because you're not perfect. Products fail. There are certain things, but if the majority of the product is good and you just have this one tweak of the product, you can work on tweaking the product, not throwing away the entire product. And it's really sad that it's Black people at the forefront of that conversation.
So there's another movie that came out which was like it was supposed to be a Harriet Tubman biopic. But that is one where I feel like the whole don't go see this actually like was beneficial, because the way the story was told is like they tried to turn this into some sort of romance thing where the white man was the savior. And I'm like,
was the white man the savior? I haven't seen it.
No, but that's like from
Did you see it?
No, but see, that's the thing. These are from like actual neutral perspectives. Whereas like
what neutral perspective?
Where like this is a review where like they give you a little rundown of it. Whereas like the white man is the one who rescues her. Of all people, Harriet Tubman, like a story of literally, you could have done that with anybody else's story, but not no damn Harriet Tubman.
I didn't watch the movie, just because I thought from the beginning it was just handled. I didn't
there was nothing
to me. Yeah.
But then it was like, okay, people like, you know what, Black movie, we'll give it a chance. And like,
but people didn't give it a chance.
No, they did. No,
Harriet? No. I don't think so.
No, they did.
Because even before the movie came out, there was already a conversation about foreign Blacks portraying
that's always
African Americans.
That's always going to be a thing.
But then for Queen and Slim, that conversation started. So a lot of people didn't go see the movie because of that.
That as well.
Because of Daniel Kaluuya and the girl. I think her grandmother is from. Well, she's British also, but like her grandmother is from the Barbados or something. And people were like, this is a foreign Black. So already a subset, the subset.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Subset of, Black people didn't even go see the movie in the first place. Even before it came out, they were already like talking about it. And then some people have a problem with the producer, Lena. And it was
I thought she actually said something that stoked those fires a bit. About the
She said she thinks that it's okay. Well, she said she feels like it's okay for. I don't want to misquote her, but in essence, she was like Daniel was good for the role because she thought Daniel could play the role. It wasn't about being African or being African American. He fit the role. He should play the role.
Oh, okay. So because my understanding about it was that she said something to the effect of he shouldn't be like, why that kind of seems counterintuitive, like why would she say that about her own film? So I get what you're saying, but But to move this discussion along, and in interest of fairness, there was also a Tyler Perry movie that came out this year. Medea did something, and Medea got paid. So
there are good. There are movies with black movies with good endings. We just don't like those movies with good endings. Tyler Perry had movies.
I'm not even going to go into the merit of Tyler Perry movies because I'd rather, like me personally, I'd rather discuss Tyler Perry, the businessman, Tyler Perry, the.
Why not? I feel like there's a demographic for his movies.
No, absolutely.
There's a huge demographic.
That's not debatable at all.
Exactly. Because, I just like.
So we actually had an episode regarding Tyler Perry, and you know his movies have grossed over $1 billion.
Of course.
$1 billion.
Of course, because all of us like to pretend like we don't have mothers and fathers and that
sit
down and watch movies.
$1 billion.
Yes, there is a market for it.
This is off about 20 movies, so it's not like he's just putting out like 100. Like,
did you see his studio? You don't.
Yeah,
you
so
don't
then
buy that if you're not making money.
So that's the thing. So I can't talk like I'm not his demographic, or maybe I'm just not. The whole Medea thing is like oh, women only funny if men are doing the acting, like it. But it's like
there's a conversation about that.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's a situation where.
But then that's been his thing from the beginning, and he's staying true to it. So I can understand that, but. Me personally,
isn't Medea dead now anyway?
It was like a family funeral or something.
Yeah, so.
But probably at the end she came back. Man,
she did?
I don't know. You're asking me. I haven't seen it.
I don't know what you do in your spare time. Maybe you binge on Medea. I don't judge. Like, come on.
I'd rather go to sleep. But yeah, and then there was also the
pretentious as black people. You know what? That's okay. I will watch a Medea movie. I love.
Have you watched any Medea movies? No, I'm hearing a lot of silence. Have you watched a Medea movie?
I have.
Which one?
I don't know the name.
But
the one that shows on BET where domestic abuse one, and then the one with
Is that Diary of the Mad Black Woman?
Yes, absolutely.
That was a Medea movie. That's the one where Shemar Moore had braids.
I don't know who that is. I don't know her by her name, but I know her.
No,
by
Shemar Moore is a dude.
Oh. I don't know him. I obviously don't know him.
But was that one with Taraji then?
And then the one with Taraji.
Oh no, I have seen the Tyler Perry.
Of course.
I saw Acrimony.
No, exactly.
No, I saw that one. I saw that one because of the conversation surrounding it.
Exactly.
But this one was a case of it was more of a who was right in the situation, and so then I was like, okay, let me give Tyler Perry.
What's wrong in the situation?
Yeah, who was right, who was wrong, whatever. And I was angry at everybody in the movie, including Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry was in the movie already, so he's the one that was wrong.
Yes, because like it's sort of like crafting a story where it's like everybody is wrong.
Oh God.
But then he's smart about that because that whole thing was what drove the conversation about it, which is what drove people to go see it, like myself included. And I was like,
I don't think it was intentional.
Okay, it might not have been intentional, but it was overwrought. It was like. It was really overdone.
No, because that's how Tyler Perry's movies actually go. Like the woman, even when the woman is a good person, she always ends up suffering the most. Either by going back to an abusive ass person or getting HIV. Oh, I don't want to spoil, but getting HIV. But the woman, okay, the end is that even the good women in Tyler Perry's movie, they suffer.
He
talk
alluded
about
to
black
that.
pain.
He alluded to that in his acceptance speech at the BET Awards, where it's like. He sees that his depiction of women in his movies have a lot to do with his mother, and I mean, that's a conversation for another year. Not even.
Woman always suffers. I tell you.
But
that's what if you say Tyler Perry studying him in film school. That's the constant trope. Black women, and they're often black women. Always suffer, whether they're good, whether they're bad, they always end up suffering. Which even brings me to the point: why then be good? Because you still like suffer.
I mean, in the Tyler Perry multiverse, that there's a point there, but he also gave a lot of actors, actresses a break.
Yes, and he paid them,
and he paid them like what they were worth.
Even more than what
they were worth. So I feel like because they were low budget movies,
that's why I will support
they were low budget movies, but most of their budget went towards paying the actors. And now with this is Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta. Man, you know all the movies that are going to be shot there now.
Right.
All because like there was like a video of, I think Coming to America 2 and the new Bad Boys movie were both shooting in the studio.
Oh wow!
So it was like a picture of Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, Eddie Murphy, and Wesley Snipes all in the same.
See?
And I mean,
so this is a prime example of just because you don't like the product, sometimes it's worth it to support the person because the person is giving people opportunities.
But then it's like, what if I just don't think the product is good, and I just tell you do better?
That's fine. That's okay. But I'm just saying that sometimes it's worth looking at the entirety of someone's product, experience, what they're bringing to the table. In Tyler Perry, the movies might not be good, but it can start a conversation about why it's bad.
So, but the thing about that is, I can have that conversation without giving you my $9.25, or if you go to AMC on a Tuesday.
I guess.
Pay $5 and you know.
But that's what I'm saying. But I wouldn't support canceling Tyler Perry.
Oh no. Oh no.
But there are people who have canceled him because of acrimony.
They canceled him because.
Yes, they were like, enough. There's enough. There are people who like swear against. Don't ever see his movies. Don't talk about him.
I before people might think that like that's like the camp I'm in. No, I just don't find the content riveting. Or I'm just. It's not my bag. The same way horror movies. I don't do horror movies.
Yeah, I don't do
that's for an entirely different conversation. But I'm just not going to see it. I'm not going to pay for that kind of entertainment. That's all. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But there are other movies that if they come up, I might have that opinion of.
Yeah.
And then I know you called me bougie earlier, so we're gonna segue into Nollywood and how it's. How it's sort of not, I don't want to say mainstream because that sort of denigrates whatever market you are in the first place. I'll say it has gotten into a broader market though, with a lot of the content being put on Netflix. And this was just something that came to me recently where it's like, okay, a lot of Nollywood is on Netflix now. So what about like vendors like Iroko TV and stuff, like where their prime...
Well, Iroko TV at the moment are producing original content.
Okay.
I know because he writes like a blog or whatever, and years ago I think he talked about how hard it was paying filmmakers, you know, to buy like movies that are already out in the theaters and stuff. So right now they're doing their own original content, which is, I mean, the quality. I'm not the storytelling. I'm not sure, but he's offering a service for people who just enjoy watching Nigerian movies, and I cannot knock his hustle.
So you don't see a parallel with the Tyler Perry situation then?
I do see a parallel, and that's why you bougie Nigerians, okay? Well, you bougie Nigerians are like,
I don't watch the camera.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I don't watch Nigerian movies as some sort of higher status or, you know, a higher intellectual status.
All right, wait. Can we put a pin in that?
It's
real
just
quick?
like,
Wait. Can we put a pin in that real quick?
Okay.
Is there any food that you don't like?
Let me
No.
Wait.
Just answer.
I will explain to you how it's not the same.
You've already strung together like 6 insults
Nigerian,
in the same sentence.
See, okay, so I don't go around saying, oh, okay. I don't like certain Nigerian food. But me saying I don't like this Nigerian food does not contribute to a larger ass conversation about how an entire industry works.
So, but you are the one who controls what you consume.
Yes. Okay. So that's why I said let me land.
Okay. Sorry.
For example, years ago, before you bougie ass Nigerians,
it's how you gonna say
started liking Nigerian music. It was also like that where people were like,
don't be
no. People were like,
some of us
I
have
don't
been
listen
listening
to Nigerian music
since Junior and Pretty. What do you know about Junior and Pretty? Okay. Yes. Continue. Lunch. Okay. Sorry.
Look at his bougie ass talking to me about.
What do you know about Junior and
Pretty?
What do you know? All you know is Davido, Whiskey.
All I know is Davido.
Burna Boy. What's the other one?
He must be tripping.
Olamide. That's all
Guys,
you know.
he's drunk because he's been drinking wine. I don't know who he's talking to.
Why
but
are you
I've always been okay. Okay. Back to
Shit.
bougie ass Nigerians, like I told you.
Wow.
So then when I was growing up, there are certain people like, I don't listen to Nigerian music, you know, as some sort of status to reach to. I don't listen to Nigerian music. But because certain people like us kept kept supporting Nigerian
other than
music,
patting yourself on the back at the same
grew
time.
to what it is today.
Okay, Christopher.
Okay, because we're proud and we promoted the music. It's the same thing with the movie industry. When you come out and say, "Oh, I don't watch Nigerian movies," and some sort of because it's not like you're saying I don't like this Nigerian movie. You're saying I don't like any Nigerian movie. That doesn't make any sense.
I see it as a genre.
How is it a genre?
I see it as the way the production is done, the acting.
It's not a genre because they don't. It's not just one.
Wait now. Okay. You landed after calling me.
You didn't let me land. You
called me bougie 47 times. But it's like the acting, the storytelling, the budget, even the way that I don't even want to call it like cinematography, but just the way that the movies look. It's like every time there's a club scene, you have to hear the entire song throughout.
See, this is what you have.
When last did you watch Nigerian music? You have to let me.
When last did you watch Nigerian movie?
You have to.
When last?
But the last time I watched a Nigerian movie was starring Liz Benson.
How dare you? How dare you open your mouth in a conversation about Nigerian movies? And listen, there are certain tropes that are now stereotyped because there are movies who are deliberately, intentionally moving away from those tropes. So for you, who I know hasn't watched a Nigerian movie in a long time, tell me, oh, I have to listen to all the. How do you know? You haven't even watched a Nigerian movie like this decade.
The same way I haven't watched a horror movie since like 2003. Because I know what's going to happen. The black person is going to get killed first.
Told you that's a genre. No,
and that's the
You're talking about a whole ass industry.
Yes, that's the same way I look at Nigerian. Like, okay,
you know
what's going to happen? The husband is going to die. The wife is going to be seen as the person who did it. Then there's going to be a flashback of how she helped him when they were suffering, and then a pastor is going to come and they're going to pray, and then miraculously, like some poison is going to come up out of the food and it's going to look like green odor type thing. And I was like, what?
I am so insulted that he's probably opening his mouth to decide movies that haven't even been. These movies, they don't even make movies like that anymore. This is not 1998. No poison is miraculously coming out from no.
Ma'am. Okay. So tell me this, in Nigerian movies, have they stopped sacrificing people for money?
For certain Nigerian movies, yes.
No, if I say, in Nigerian movies today, are they still sacrificing people for money?
No, they're not.
You're lying.
No, they're not.
You're lying. So what does Kanayo do? What does he do in his movie?
Kanayo act no more like that. Like, what are you talking?
If you see him in a movie.
Told you.
If you see him in a movie. If you see him in a movie. Is somebody getting sacrificed for money? Told you. No, just answer my question.
Told you. This is not in 1999.
Answer my question.
If a movie comes out on Netflix, this doesn't warrant an answer because it's very insulting to Nigerian movie makers who are trying their hardest with the limited. And this is why I say, black people, you guys need to have empathy for the people who are actually doing the work.
I'm not telling nobody to not
because
watch it.
You're not even supporting, and you're then
they're not making it for me because I don't see.
But let me tell you.
You know what?
Speaking of empathy,
I do not see that whole thing. Whatever the story is, does not appeal to me.
Okay, speaking of empathy. Okay, let's even go back to those old movies. Okay, trying to storytell. People were doing the best that they could with the resources that they had. Okay, and now there are movie makers who are intentionally trying to tell good stories, who are going away from those tropes and making movies. And it's a disservice for people like you who are not watching the movies to then come out and be like, oh, is the poison still coming out of the...
You asked me why I don't watch it.
I'm not. Why you don't watch it is not even relevant to today's work.
I'm not even campaigning for other people not to do it. If anyone asks me...
This is a conversation about preference. and how people think that their preference happens in the vacuum. No, there are things outside of that vacuum that influences why, and like you said, is because of things like kind of your sacrificing people. But those outside influences have changed.
I just want you to confirm. If you see him in a movie, is he sacrificing somebody? Just yes or no?
I'm not gonna word that.
No, I've answered all of your questions. That's not the question I asked. That's not my question.
Okay, fine. Even if someone was being sacrificed in a kind of your movie. This is what happens in Nigeria.
I just want us to note that
even
that
the acting
sentence,
and the dramatic. Nigerians are dramatic. Okay, that is actually staying true to what Nigerian people do. Nigerian people do think that sacrifices do them.
I don't want to witness that. Is that so difficult?
But that's what I'm saying. Not all movies do that.
Oh, so
this is an entire industry. There are different genres. There's horror.
You
listen to me. Don't try me today. I've been trying to be no, okay? All men.
Wow.
Back to what I was saying, okay?
Okay.
Back to what I was saying. There's an entire genre of Nigerian movies, okay? There's romance, there is horror, there's adventure.
Horror, like
there is
Abarala. And is that what you consider horror?
How else is that not horror?
Okay. I'm never watching that again.
Your mind.
I'm never watching that again.
That is horror.
I haven't watched Nigerian horror.
There's genre, there's horror, there's adventure, there's even
adventure.
There's even adventure.
There's Nigerian sci-fi?
Yes, even that.
Are you sure that you're not mixing
up? Oh God. Let's just move on because you're ridiculous. Guys, seriously, okay? What you said, there are people who are doing better movies. They're trying to be better, and the least that you guys can do is support. Okay? At least watch King of Boys on Netflix.
So now that you brought up Netflix, what about the Nigerian movie, the one that was supposed to be nominated for, that they wanted to submit for Oscar consideration?
That wasn't that good. That's why I didn't join that comment. But that's the Genevieve wrote to yesterday. It was okay. It was okay. Just not Oscar worthy.
So what was it about the movie that you thought was okay, and what do you think limited it in terms of Oscar consideration then?
Why I think is not, or just
you're like, why do you think it wasn't Oscar worthy?
Because the storytelling kind of stalled in places. If you've seen the movies,
was Lionheart, right?
Yeah, Lionheart. But the cinematography was good. The acting was great.
Really?
Yes. Okay. It was Genevieve. It was I believe it was Peter Doce.
Okay. He's the one with the quotes, right?
Yes. It was organic. They did depict. It wasn't a situation where there's always light. There was even a scene where they were having dinner, I believe, and they took lights, and there was like a candle, which is very things like you don't usually see in Nigerian movies were in there. It's just that the storyline was just kind of.
So it was an okay movie, but
not like Oscar.
So why was there then this backlash towards that decision then, like?
Because it should have gotten a chance to be rejected based on this is not.
Oh wait, so it wasn't even.
They said
it wasn't even considered.
Yeah, it was. It's not.
Well, why? So you're saying they should have gotten. So you're saying they should have been given the opportunity to be denied? Is that what
yes, it was the reason why they denied it. Do you understand? They said it wasn't. It didn't have enough.
All right. So the press reading is the drama Lionheart is the first film Nigeria has submitted for consideration for an Academy Award. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences disqualified it because it's in English.
So that's why it was disqualified.
So the thing is, isn't the Oscar for best foreign language film or something like that? That's what the Oscar is for, right?
Yeah.
So if the movie is in English, like, because based on the rules, yes, it shouldn't be qualified. But we're challenging why that rule is there for foreign movies, because there are certain countries that, like Nigeria, that English is the main language being spoken. It doesn't, but we're still a foreign. Like Nigeria is a foreign country too. No, but then I suppose the reason why unless they're just saying the best non-American movie. Is that what you'd rather hear? Because then British movies would then fall in that category, as opposed to being.
So that's what the argument was. That okay, so if you're opening it up to
non-American as opposed to non-English,
exactly, then all these other countries will still qualify for it. But that's I guess that's going to be like the, what's that word, when like you're the, something happens to you because you're just standing there. I can't remember. Yeah, like that. So, but the issue was that we should qualify for that category because we speak English, we're foreign, like compared to like a French-speaking country where the only difference is that they were colonized by the French. It's not fair to us because we're colonized by, it's just that we're colonized by England or English people, whatever. But yeah, I didn't even, there's certain conversations just like, okay, we've never cared for the Oscars, so I'm not even trying to now care about the Oscars validating our work. Just saying.
And the movie wouldn't have won anyway, but
Yeah, it wouldn't have won, and I feel like at this point we're trying to get African American stories or Black stories away from even having to need Oscar validation. I don't even want Nigerian movies to fall into that trap of having to wait for that.
So
wanting that
for
some sort of status.
Backing off of this, then, what about when like the best international act wasn't an award that was given at the BET Awards? Like it was given pre-show.
That's a Black.
No, but then no. So, but I'm saying like I'm saying, but best international act until like 3 years ago, that award was never actually given at the award ceremony.
Right.
Until I think Nigerian or African artists protested in a way.
Yeah.
Where it's like everybody's like on the outside looking in a way, where it's like Black folks are like not being given like their work isn't being like acknowledged properly, and then here in an award ceremony that is fashioned towards Black people, you have like the international award, which is primarily South African, Ghanaian, Nigerian, even some British artists fall under that. And then those people, they're not even handed their award at the ceremony.
Yeah, and that's why we pushed back.
Yeah, so then it's like, everybody should be able to understand why, because it's not even a matter of, you shouldn't require that kind of validation. You could say that, like, and that sounds very good if you're like a,
but in actuality, those awards affect your money,
they
affect
bring
your
prestige,
visibility,
visibility. They even open you up to be able to do collaborations with other people that you wouldn't have been like, who wouldn't be aware of you, and so
and that's why I would push for like a BET recognition versus an Oscar recognition, because I do understand, and that's why I say I do understand people who keep calling out the Oscars, but at the same time, the Oscars is white. Is a white, like it's to benefit white people, and I know I keep sounding like a broken record, white people, but like I wouldn't waste my time pushing for an Oscars recognition versus a BET award, because I know those are my people. I want you guys to recognize us. I want you guys to know that we're doing this. Like, this is my people. These people, I know it does affect your visibility, your prestige, and all that, but it's just like, can we move that? Can we try to move, what an Oscar would mean for a Black actor in the industry?
Well, okay, so not even just an Oscar, not just an Oscar specifically, but awards in general.
In general.
So these award ceremonies are generally like, they're very masturbatory, where they're just people in the audience congratulating themselves.
Yeah.
But it's like there's something that's very real about like the Oscars bump, where it's like once movies get nominated, their box office rises right after that, and then whoever wins those awards, those movies, they receive like a bump in box office as well. So I can understand why people would want their movies to get that kind of recognition, even if it means the director, the screenwriters, the cinematographers, the actors, whoever, they also get like prestige. They get sort of like, I'll use like Jordan Peele as an example. When Get Out came out, he was the hottest name out there.
Mm.
So in terms of his prospects, the next three things he does are gonna get greenlit, no matter what they are. That's why Us came out. He did the Twilight Zone on CBS All Access, which was basically like CBS's streaming service, and it was all based around the Twilight Zone. So it's like he was like the main feature for a major network's streaming service.
But don't you think it's because of like the publicity that they get after they get the awards?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like you can say like, oh, it's just white people.
But that's what I said. We
so, but this
we're
is, but
able
this
to
is about,
shift that.
But then this is about awards in general. But the thing is,
not awards in general.
Because the Oscar is the highest.
Right.
Is the highest in terms of film. Just like the same with the Emmys is the highest in terms of TV, Grammys in terms of music.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when we have the decision makers or the people making the decisions, and they're very homogeneous in that the demographics of that room is typically white male, it's like the diversity in thought is not there. So it's like if you decide, okay, you're going to continue giving them that authority that is self-fulfilling, because like, okay, I think the Oscars are important. Therefore, I'm going to give the Oscars this power over deciding. Therefore, your movie isn't given Oscar consideration. Therefore, you think it's a failure or whatever. And then the movies that do get that recognition continue to prosper.
But what I'm saying is, for example, for the Oscars, I feel like, the Oscars started in a time where we didn't have things like social media or like people who would drive your publicity without that, and then you get an Oscar and that's like puts you at the forefront of every conversation. But now we have different ways. We have Twitter, we have different social medias where we can put visibility on the things that we want to see even without the Oscars. So now the award now is just a prestige thing where
but how often, because it's one thing to just share the videos or whatever, oh, I'm going to go see this, blah, blah. It's one thing to say that and another thing to actually go do it. Right. Because if you look at the box office numbers for a lot of these movies, it's like you see them, they get like millions and millions of views on Twitter and Instagram, whatever. And then once box office comes out, the numbers are kind of lacking. And then the thing is with
But that's what I'm saying, the Oscars doesn't automatically give you that box office number. People actually give you that box office number.
But then the thing is, the fact that it's Oscar nominated, it's like, okay, it's like you see let's say you see the Oscar.
I get what you're saying, because it's Oscar nominated, people want to go see. But that's what I'm saying. If we take away the power from that,
but then that's like taking like it's like saying, okay, the Olympics, like how are you gonna know who the fastest person is unless they go there?
They go and compete.
Yeah, because like anybody can say that's the fastest person. Like, okay, you can say he's the fastest person in Illinois. He's the fastest person in Florida.
The Oscars are not the only awards, though. But I get it. For now, they are the top awards.
No, but even in terms of prestige, well, in terms of the product itself of the Oscar ceremony, and the fact that it's on ABC, so it's on network TV, where the visibility is highest. Like we have the NAACP Image Awards. Do you know what channel that comes on?
That's what I'm saying. I do get what you're saying. I get that they've been positioned in the right spot. You can watch it. Like you're focused on this 5-6 movies. Now you're curious. You want to go see it because of that. But we're using the Oscars as a meter to judge certain things. But now we know that the Oscars is not that good at judging the movies. So like, okay, say the Olympics, they have to compete to know who the fastest runner is. We don't have... With the Oscars, there's not that kind of reliability, and we've proven it. We've seen good movies.
But then the thing is, for you to we're not going to listen to individual critics because we know how biased they can be,
right?
Or sometimes they can just be flat out wrong. So if we have something that aggregates a bunch of critics, a bunch of experts, a bunch of voters, that's typically what award ceremonies do. But the thing is, we only hear about the Oscars, Golden Globes, Emmys.
I don't think so. I think we hear about. I think for me, and I keep bringing up Twitter, but I feel like Twitter is my Oscars. Like I go there, I read reviews. I know even if I don't know a movie is coming out, and I see a couple of people, the Harriet Tubman movie, I didn't know it was coming out. Then I started to see people talk about it. It just started slowly, and I was like, okay, let me check what's this about. And I read like some Twitter comments. I knew I didn't want to go see it from the Twitter comments, and I went and saw the reviews, and I was like, okay, I don't want to go see it. I don't need an Oscars for that for me. That's what I'm saying. And I feel like we as individuals, especially as Black people, we need to move away from the Oscars because we know we have first-hand experience that the Oscars does not do that job for us. Do you understand? They don't even do that job for white people and white movies. So they definitely don't do that job for us. So we need to be cautious about that and be like, okay, we can get information from these various sources. The Oscars is not what they claim it is. The value, what I'm saying is people that put the value of what the Oscars have. The Oscars award is not giving you some magical kind of, like traffic. It's people, the value that they put on the Oscars. And once that is taken off, once people realize it, and once people admit it, because people know it, people know that this is not a good meter to go by. But once people really actually admit it and be like, okay, this is ridiculous. Because after Oscars so I thought everyone was going to stop watching the Oscars.
But then the next year the Oscars was decidedly not white.
That's true.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And then it went back to.
But we all know how that goes. Yeah.
I mean, even though since then Moonlight won Best Picture, even though they wanted to give it to what was the name of that? There was some controversy around it with the movie with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. I don't know, La La Land. Yeah,
oh,
they announced
That's
La La
true.
Land, and it was supposed to be Moonlight. Yeah, see. So even when Black people win, they still got to get it with an asterisk.
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna take a quick break here, and then we'll be right back. All right, we're back.
Welcome back to the show.
What are you doing?
My name is Precious again. Welcome, go, and we're back.
Okay, are you done?
We're back.
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay, so now it's the rapid fire questionnaire for the guests, and just first thing that comes to your mind.
You know the song Rapid Fire though?
No, I don't know the song.
By Santi?
No.
Oh my God! Sure you know.
Ma'am, can we stay on
Alright,
topic,
that's fine.
please?
That's fine.
Because I don't know a song
But
by
listen
Santi.
to it, Santi. Rapid Fire.
Are there any other recommendations you want to get off your chest?
I'm just saying.
You were talking about Thames earlier. You want to plug in
waiting
for music too?
Oh, guys, okay. Listen to a lot of Jules. He's a bomb-ass producer, and he releases really good songs. Melvito has a project out with Jules right now. Let me just go.
That was hype. That was like that wasn't like that was I can't remember the freaking word I'm supposed to be using.
See?
It was rhetorical. When I said, "Do you have any recommendations?" But no, you're actually going through your Spotify. So no, go ahead. No, just we're already gone down this rabbit hole.
You know what? Let me just stop for now. But listen to Melvito. A lot of Adekunle Gold. I don't really actually listen to a lot of Santi. But if that's your cup of tea.
So you were just about to crucify me.
I know that the song is popular, okay? Like Naira Marley is popular. It doesn't mean that I listen to all his music.
So, but your thing was that you don't listen to Santi. I'm like,
no, I said you don't know Santi. Rapid Fire.
I didn't say I don't know Santi.
Okay, yeah. The song is popular, so you should know it.
No,
Lady Don Lee. Okay, let's get on to her. Bez released a beautiful body of work this year. Listen to that album, okay? Specifically, Beautiful As You Are. That's the song you should have put for your friend, not Jesus.
What do you have against Jesus now? Huh?
I don't do religion anymore.
Okay, all right. Topic for another day. All right, so now can we get to the questionnaire now?
And world, WURLD. That's it.
Okay. All right. Are we done now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So remember, just first thing that comes to mind, honestly. Okay.
Are you guys ready for honest though?
Okay. All right. First question: have you ever been in a fist fight?
No. Yes. In primary school, but they beat me real good, so.
I can't imagine why.
I can tell you the story.
Okay, I'd like to hear the story.
Okay. So this very little ass boy, right? So these people that I call my friends, it was Christmas, as usual. Nigerians go to the village for Christmas. This, my friends, like this little ass boy. I don't know how we got to the conversation, but I was like, they were like, this boy can beat me. I was like, no, he can't beat me. This little ass boy cannot beat me. My stupid ass friends set a fight between me and this boy, and this boy beat my ass. That's the story.
Okay.
Like threw me on the floor and everything.
Shit, damn.
And they stood watching.
Why? What are they supposed to do?
And they were supposed to be my fake cousins. You know how
they didn't want to make you a liar. They wanted to give you the chance to win.
Bye.
Sorry. All right. Question 2. If you had to lose one of your senses, which would it be?
Smell.
So vision, hearing, smell, speaking, touch.
Smell.
Smell?
Yeah.
Even though that's the one that's most attributed to memory.
Well, I don't know, but smell.
Smell?
Because I can't do it. Let me not say, because I don't want to put bad things out to the universe. But.
Okay, all right. Question 3. If you could switch lives with any one person for a day, who would it be?
Beyonce.
Why Beyonce? You wouldn't want to know what it's like to be a guy? Any famous guy you'd like to switch lives with?
The hell would I want to be? No. I want to know how it feels like to be scum.
You wouldn't like to know what it's like to walk around
at
night?
Like a queen.
You wouldn't want to know what it's like to walk around at night or to get paid $1 compared to 72 cents.
No, with Beyonce money, I can buy my own island and walk around. You know. Okay.
All right. I've said multiple times who I'd be. I don't want to repeat that.
Usher.
No, I said I'd be Rihanna. Yeah. I'm not going to get into that conversation again.
You don't need to.
I
understand.
It was very weird, and people are looking at me funny now. But whatever. All right, question 4. This is the question I said I didn't want to ask you, but you insisted.
I didn't.
You insisted.
No.
So would you rather pee a golf ball or shit a bowling ball?
The hell? I thought you're about to ask me some grand ass question. What the hell is that?
Hey, you gotta. That's the question. Would you rather pee a golf ball or shit a bowling ball? That's the question. You said you're a grown ass.
Shit a
bowling
ball.
You'd rather shit a bowling ball?
Yeah, because no, because
I understand the logistics. That's why
yeah,
it's a tough question.
It's really a small hole that the pee comes out for, like a little.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you asked the question. Don't.
No, you were the one that was hesitating.
No.
You were the one that was
now you have to
your
listen
brow.
to the details of the grueling shit that I have to shit up the bowling ball.
If you want to wear a diaper, that's on you.
That's fine. I mean, it's only one bowling ball. People put bigger things. Well.
Wow. Okay. Let's get into that. So what other things? What things are you talking about exactly?
Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about.
What? No, you mentioned what things are you talking about?
No, but I'm like.
No. What?
Both doesn't make any sense, but I think I would rather do that. Don't pull me down to you.
Most afraid you've ever been?
When I was kidnapped.
Wait, I'm sorry. What now? Could you elaborate?
Is that the? How can you say this? This is a no rapid fire question. You actually have to think about this.
You meant you had a very rapid answer.
No, because I'm trying to think, because I've been scared a lot in my life. A lot of times. I'm considering if that's like.
You have lived if being kidnapped is questionable as the most scared you've ever been. Was that in Nigeria?
Yeah, that was in Nigeria.
Okay.
But I don't think that's not gonna say this. The most scared I've been was I got into an accident here in the United States, and I was scared that my license had expired.
So it's fear for a different reason.
Yeah, but that was the most intense. I think that's the most intense. But like the longest fear I've had was the kidnapping one. But it was my dad that kidnapped me, so it was.
Okay, so we're just gonna walk past that one. Okay. Do you have a New Year's resolution?
I don't. I wish I do, but I don't. I just.
Or you don't believe
I just
in them?
want to be happy.
Okay. And then the final.
I do believe in it, but I'm not that disciplined.
So maybe that should be a resolution.
That I did it this year.
Of being more disciplined. That was your resolution.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
I mean, I was better than last year.
Okay, progress.
Okay. But that's
still
not
work to
really
be
a
done.
good skill to go by. Because it was
just to be better than
literally
yesterday.
zilch. But it was better. Maybe 2%, 3%, 4%. But it was better.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll accept that.
Yeah.
All right. And final question. What 3 words would you hope people would describe you as? It doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to make a sentence. It could be 3 separate words.
Funny.
Okay.
I want people to be happy when I'm around.
That is that still under funny?
And I want people to.
Ma'am, no, you're supposed to just give me 3 words.
That's words. Funny, happy, and kind. I want people to describe me as kind.
Do you think you're kind?
I am kind. What the fuck?
Wow. Okay. And I think that is just the perfect way to end this episode.
But first of all, you need to watch yourself, okay?
Yeah, okay, we're ending that.
Apart from, listen, don't you think I'm the worst in me, okay? Because I've been trying so hard to be good in this podcast. But this one here, okay?
Wow.
This one here keeps trying me all the time.
Wow. Okay.
But when I'm not in his presence, I really try to be kind, and I want the people around me to describe me as a really kind person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that got intense at the end, but because
you want to try me.
Okay, sorry, Thames. All right. Thank you for listening to the Well Actually podcast. Thank you again to Precious for joining us. This was interesting to say the least.
See? Did you have fun?
Am
I your best guest yet?
So I would like to thank you.
That's my rapid fire question, and you're not even answering it. What kind of a host are you? You okay. Am I your best guest yet?
Are you my best guest? No. But this has been the most fun episode. Okay. Okay.
Who's your best guest? This is the year of, summary and stuff.
Well, who was my best guest? So we had, but the thing is, different guests brought different things. And wait. But let me give you a summary of each one. So I brought, the first guest was one of my friends who I've known the longest. But it was a discussion about things where we had like differing opinions on things. But it was like, that was a friend of mine. Then the next guest was someone we just didn't see eye to eye on anything at all.
Oh, wow.
But that's why I had him on, because I didn't want it just to be an echo chamber. One of my friends, Corey. I actually went to high school with him. Okay. So I didn't want this to just continually be an echo chamber where it's just people who agree with me over and over. But so I think the name of that episode was Let's Agree to Disagree or something like that. Then the following episode was with Default Rotis. It was JJ and his wife. So that one we actually had like a medical professional. That's when we discussed like TI.
I watched that one, I think.
Yeah, the whole thing about virginity and the virginity test and like how virginity itself is a construct. And then the last one was we had Joy on. She's a blogger and like an empowerment speaker. So it was very.
What episode with Joy?
That's the first one I saw.
Okay.
That's my first friend.
Oh, Joy is your longest friend?
One of my longest friends, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've known him since 2002.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Joy came on the last episode, so it was like a lot of, like, she was giving like a lot of expertise in terms of like starting a blog or any creative endeavor. And so like different episodes brought different things. So like some were more serious than others. Yeah. Some were contentious, and then some, and so yeah, but this was definitely the most fun. And probably because we're drinking wine, but whatever. It's yeah. No, but because this isn't even. I'm not usually this expressive either, so I'm not saying it's because of you. Like, whatever. You don't have to. You don't have to start pointing fingers. But anyway, yes, I'd like to thank you for joining me, and to everyone who's listening. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. And you can check out the videos on YouTube in case you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube. The Will Actually podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. Look for the podcast page on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. And then we're going to try and do this again next year. Maybe, I don't know. It depends on how I feel, and it depends on whatever my resolution is. I haven't come up with one yet. All right, but thank you.
Woo woo! Thank you for having me. Bye.